Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UHS Endeavour, gazing at the stars through the main viewport. The ship had been traveling for 3 months now, pushing farther into space than any human had ever gone before. Jake was a tall man, with brown hair and steady blue eyes. He had served in the Earth Space Navy for 15 years, but this mission was different. This was exploration, not war. The bridge remained quiet, except for the soft hum of the engines. Dr. Lisa Chen worked at her science station, studying readings from the newest star system they had entered. She was a xenobiologist, a scientist specializing in alien life. Lisa had joined this mission dreaming of finding something extraordinary. So far, they had discovered only barren planets and lifeless rocks. Commander Alex Rodriguez monitored the weapon systems at his tactical station. He was cautious by nature, always expecting trouble. Alex had fought in the Mars colony wars and understood how dangerous space could be. His dark eyes stayed fixed on the scanner displays, searching for any hint of threat. At the communications station, Amy Foster monitored radio signals from nearby space. She was only 25, the youngest officer aboard, yet she was the fleet's top communications expert. Amy had grown up listening to faint transmissions from deep space, waiting for the day humans might encounter another intelligent species. The Endeavour was Earth's most advanced exploration ship. It carried the finest equipment ever built and a crew of 42 men and women. The mission was simple: explore the Kepler 442 star system and search for signs of life or resources. Earth needed both if humanity hoped to expand beyond the solar system. Jake walked over to Lisa's station. "Anything interesting, Doctor?" he asked. Lisa glanced up from her monitors. "The fourth planet shows strange readings, Captain. Structures on the surface, clearly not natural." Jake felt his pulse quicken. Structures meant intelligence. "Show me," he said. The main screen shifted to reveal the planet below. It was a desolate, brown-gray world with a thin atmosphere. On the surface, geometric shapes stood starkly against the rock. They were unmistakably artificial. "Those are buildings," Alex said, leaning closer, "or something built by intelligent life." Amy turned from her station. "No radio signals detected. If anyone lives there, they're silent." Jake studied the image carefully. Abandoned didn't always mean harmless. "Take us into orbit," he ordered. "Full scans of the planet. I want everything before we land." Hours passed as the Endeavour's sensors swept the surface. The structures formed a vast complex near the northern pole. They were built of a metal the scanners couldn't identify. Walkways linked the buildings, some extending deep underground. "No life signs," Lisa reported, "but power systems remain active. Whoever built this wanted it to endure." "Any idea who?" Jake asked. "Completely alien architecture," Lisa replied. "Nothing like human design. Different principles entirely." Alex scanned again. "No weapons detected. No ships nearby. If it's a trap, it's quiet." Jake nodded. "We're going down. Landing team, full environmental suits, portable scanners. Amy, you're with us. If there's alien tech, we'll need your expertise." An hour later, Jake led the team through the shuttle bay. Along with Amy, he brought Lisa, Alex, and security officers Pete Wilson and Kate Barnes. Their suits were designed to guard against hostile atmospheres and alien pathogens. The shuttle descended beside the largest building. The massive structure rose 50 meters high, walls smooth and windowless. A wide opening faced the landing site, possibly a door. Jake stepped out first, boots crunching on the rocky ground. Lighter gravity made each step feel strange. The rest followed toward the entrance. "Air is breathable," Lisa said after scanning. "Low oxygen, but safe with suits." The doorway loomed ahead, far taller than human scale. 3 meters high, 2 meters wide. "Motion sensors," Alex reported. "Something knows we're here." Lights flickered on inside as they approached, soft blue illumination unlike anything human. A corridor stretched inward. "Should we enter?" Amy asked nervously. Jake checked his weapon. "That's why we came. Stay close." They advanced single file. Symbols covered the walls, meaningless to human eyes. Some panels resembled computer displays, glowing with shifting patterns of light. The corridor opened into a vast chamber filled with equipment, computers, instruments, all built for beings taller than humans. "A research facility," Lisa murmured. "Extremely advanced." Amy studied a wall panel. "Captain, I think I can access their system. The interface is complex but possible." "Do it," Jake ordered. "Carefully." Symbols danced as Amy worked the alien controls. Minutes later, she froze. "Captain, I'm detecting life. Signs," she whispered. "Human life signs. There are people here." Jake felt his chest tighten. Ice settled in his stomach. "Where?" Amy pointed deeper into the facility. "Below us. A lot of them." The team moved quickly, following Amy's scanner readings. Stairs led downward into the lower levels, and they descended fast. The life signs grew stronger the deeper they went. At last, they reached a vast room filled with glass chambers. Each chamber, about the size of a small bedroom, held a single occupant. Jake looked into the nearest one and felt his world shift. Forever. Inside was a human child, a girl no older than 10. She lay asleep on a simple bed, dressed in strange but clean clothing. Tubes fed nutrients into her body while sensors tracked every heartbeat. "Dear God," Lisa whispered. Jake moved along the rows. Each chamber held a human child. Some were as young as 6, others appeared to be teenagers. All were unconscious, kept under artificial sleep. Amy counted carefully. 12 total, she said. All human, all from Earth. Alex examined the monitors. "This is a research station. Someone's been studying them." Jake's hands trembled as he looked at the sleeping children. So young, so helpless. Stolen from their families, brought here like specimens. "Can we wake them?" he asked Lisa. She studied the controls. "Yes, the system keeps them sedated, but I can reverse it." "Do it," Jake said, his voice like steel. "Every one of them. We're taking them home." As Lisa worked, Jake stared at the alien technology surrounding them. Whoever built this place had committed an unspeakable crime, abducting human children for experiments. Jake Morrison had come here seeking alien life. Instead, he had found something that would change humanity's place in the stars forever. The universe had just turned far more dangerous, and somewhere the ones responsible were still free. The first child stirred. Jake knew nothing would be the same again. The first to wake was a brown-haired girl with frightened green eyes. She sat up in the Endeavor's medical bay, trembling. Dr. Lisa Chen spoke gently. "You're safe now. I'm Dr. Chen. This is a human ship." Her name was Katie Walsh, 9 years old, taken from the farming colony on New Haven 6 months earlier. She told them about the day strange beings came to her home and dragged her from her parents. Tears fell when she spoke of her little brother, Ben, taken with her. Ben Walsh, only 7, lay in the next bed, clinging to Katie and refusing to speak. Nightmares haunted him, memories of the glass chambers. The other children awoke slowly, over the next hours. Twins Emma and Ethan Park, 12 years old, taken from the Ceres mining station. A shy girl, Sophie Martinez, abducted from a playground in Mexico City. Each told the same story, taken from their homes without warning. The oldest, 14-year-old Danny Cooper, had been captive nearly a year, bitter and angry. He told Jake about the tests. "Nothing painful," Danny said, "but they treated us like animals. They made us solve puzzles, eat strange food, watch images, then recorded everything." Jake's anger burned as he listened. Months of experiments. Children treated like lab rats. Meanwhile, Amy worked on translating data from the alien computers. What she uncovered made Jake's fury sharpen like a blade. "Captain," Amy said, calling him over, "you need to see this." The display showed alien text with her translation beneath. The file was titled Developmental Study of Species 847, Human. It contained detailed notes about each child, their learning speed, emotional reactions, everything. "They call us Species 847, Amy said bitterly. "According to their files, humans are a developing species under something called collective law. That supposedly gives them the right to study us." Jake read further. The aliens were part of the Zapirian Collective, a union of species enforcing laws over younger civilizations. "Look here," Amy said, pointing to another file. "They have facilities like this all over the galaxy. Millions of subjects, thousands of species." Jake felt cold rage settle in his chest. This wasn't isolated. It was systematic. "Can we contact them?" he asked. Amy nodded. "The station has a communications array. I can reach their central fleet." "Do it," Jake ordered. "Tell them we want whoever runs this program." 12 hours later, the Endeavor received a reply. The main screen lit up, showing a tall, thin figure with gray skin and huge black eyes. Its voice crackled like static. "I am High Researcher Vexathala of the Zapirian Collective," it said. "We understand you have removed research subjects from Facility 847 Delta. This violates collective protocols." Jake stood before the screen, fists clenched. Behind him, Alex Rodriguez stood at weapons control. Lisa Chen held little Katie, trembling at the sight of the alien. "Those subjects are human children," Jake said, his voice cold as space. "You kidnapped them from their families." Vexathala tilted its head, curious rather than concerned. "They were collected under and are contributing to vital research about cognitive growth in emerging civilizations." "You took children from their parents," Jake said coldly. "You experimented on them without consent. Where I come from, we call that a crime." So, Alien seemed genuinely puzzled. "The subjects are being studied to better understand their species. This research benefits the entire collective, including future human advancement. Why object to scientific progress?" Jake felt his composure fraying. "Because those aren't subjects. They're children, with families who love them. You have no right to steal them." "Love," Vexathala repeated the word slowly, like tasting something strange. "You refer to emotional bonding between genetic relatives. This is a fascinating aspect of human psychology we have studied closely. The subjects showed high stress when separated from birth units." "Birth units?" Lisa whispered, horrified. "You mean parents?" "The terminology is correct," Vexathala said calmly. "Emotional responses were significant, though they diminished over time with proper conditioning." Jake stepped nearer, eyes hard. "You're returning every human child you've taken. You're shutting down these programs, and you're staying out of human space." Vexathala made a sound. Laughter, maybe. "Species 847 lacks the authority or capability to dictate collective policy. You cannot challenge established protocols." "Then let me make it clear," Jake said, voice like ice. "You've committed an act of war. You kidnapped our children. Consider this humanity's formal declaration." The alien's black eyes widened slightly. "War over research subjects? This is irrational. Perhaps such emotional instability explains why your species warrants further study." "Captain," Alex Rodriguez interrupted from tactical, "multiple ships inbound. Closing fast. Collective. Vessels," Vexathala confirmed. "I am coming to retrieve the research subjects and resolve this misunderstanding. Perhaps we can reach an arrangement." Jake's smile was thin and dangerous. "Come ahead. We'll be waiting." The transmission ended, leaving silence heavy on the bridge. Jake turned to his crew, fury burning behind steady eyes. "Send word to Earth Command," he ordered. "Priority 1. Tell them everything. Tell them we may need backup." "Already sent, Captain," Amy said. "The moment we found the children." "Good. Alex, arm all weapon systems, shields up, load torpedo tubes." "With pleasure," Alex replied grimly. Lisa looked up from where Katie Walsh clung to her. "Captain, what will we do?" Jake's gaze swept the bridge, then fell on the trembling child. 12 children, stolen, traumatized, used like test animals. Katie's brother Ben still woke screaming from nightmares. "We're going to show them what happens when you hurt human kids," Jake said. "We're going to teach the Zephyrian Collective what human anger looks like." Outside, stars glittered cold and sharp. Among them, alien ships closed in. The first meeting between humanity and the Zephyrian Collective was about to begin, and Jake Morrison would make certain it was one they'd never forget. 3 alien vessels appeared on scanners, gliding toward the Endeavor. Jake watched them approach, crew tense at their stations. Their ships were like nothing humans had ever built, curved, seamless, angles that bent the eye. "No weapons displayed," Alex reported. "But their tech is so far ahead I might not." "Spot them." Amy Foster monitored incoming transmissions. "They request docking permission, Captain. High Researcher Vexathala wants to come aboard." Jake considered. Risky, but an opportunity, too. "Tell them 1 representative only. Vexathala can come. Unarmed. No recorders." An hour later, Jake stood in the shuttle bay as a sleek alien. Craft descended. It landed without sound, its hull shimmering. A door slid open and Vexathala emerged. Tall, gray-skinned, nearly 3 meters, eyes black and unreadable. Jake had Alex, Lisa, and 4 armed security officers with him. The alien glanced at the weapons, but showed no fear. "Captain Morrison," Vexathala said, voice echoing in the bay. "I appreciate your willingness to speak in person." "The only thing to discuss is the children's return," Jake said coldly. "All of them." Vexathala tilted its head. "Perhaps you misunderstand the purpose of our research. If you understood the benefits, you might cooperate." "Show me," Jake said flatly. The alien activated a device projecting a vast holographic star map. Thousands of glowing points marked worlds across the galaxy. "The collective encompasses over 10,000 civilizations," Vexathala said. "For 50,000 years, we have studied developing species. Our research has prevented wars, guided countless worlds toward peace." The display shifted. Images of alien species, some nearly human, others utterly alien. Crystalline beings, creatures of living gas, entities beyond description. "Each species we study," Vexathala said softly, "teaches us more about how intelligence emerges," Vexathala continued. "Your species, for instance, displays unusually strong emotional bonds with offspring. This trait is uncommon among emerging civilizations. Emotional bonds." Lisa Chen stepped forward, her voice shaking with anger. "You mean love?" "We love our children. Love." Vexathala repeated the word as though it were a biological anomaly. "Yes, this phenomenon appears repeatedly in human behavioral records. It seems to override logical analysis." In countless examples, Jake felt control slipping again. "Those children you seized have parents tearing themselves apart with grief. Entire families shattered because you wanted to watch how humans react to stolen kids. The subjects were chosen under strict protocols," Vexathala explained. "They came from remote regions to reduce social disruption. Their families were monitored to record the emotional patterns you mention." The words hit Jake like a hammer. "You observed them suffer. You analyzed their agony." "The grief indicators were remarkable," Vexathala said, utterly blind to the fury rising in Jake's face. "Far stronger than projections based on comparative species studies." Alex Rodriguez moved closer, hand twitching near his sidearm. "Captain, permission to shoot this thing?" Jake raised one hand, though the same thought burned inside him. "You claimed this wasn't isolated. How many more captives?" The hologram shifted, again revealing a colossal station suspended in deep space. The structure was titanic, rivaling a small moon. Jake saw endless docking rings and sprawling research complexes. Research Station Omega contains subjects from over 300 developing species, Vexthala said, almost boastfully. Presently, about 47,000 individuals across many age groups. Lisa gasped. 47,000 children? Not exclusively juveniles? Vexthala corrected. Some captives arrived decades ago, now fully grown, invaluable for long-term analysis. Jake stared at the monstrous facility. Nearly 50,000 abductees hidden inside. The sheer magnitude eclipsed anything imaginable. Humans comprise a tiny segment of our ongoing studies, Vexthala continued. Only 43 from your species in 2 cycles. 43 children, Jake repeated, voice flat with rage. A baseline sample, Vexthala agreed. Should results prove compelling, we may broaden operations. Ice settled in Jake's gut. They spoke casually of seizing more children like items on a ledger. They could not fathom the ruin left behind. There will be no expansion, Jake said. You will return every single human captive now. That would erase irreplaceable data, Vexthala objected. Perhaps we might negotiate. Your people could offer volunteers, receiving advanced technologies in exchange. Volunteers? Alex snapped. More children? Adults suffice for select parameters, Vexthala replied, though juveniles yield superior cognitive metrics. Jake regarded the towering alien and understood at last. They confronted something monstrous. Vexthala's species had abducted innocents for millennia, rationalizing atrocities as progress. Listen carefully, Jake said, advancing a step. Human children are not samples, not exhibits for research. They are sacred to us. Take them, and you, declare war upon all humanity. Vexthala cocked its head, baffled. This emotional intensity is extraordinary. Your species seems to value each member far beyond functional utility. Every child matters, Lisa said, her voice trembling with fury. Every last one. This is obviously a cultural trait deserving deeper analysis, Vexthala said. Perhaps we should enlarge the Human Research Initiative to examine these attachment instincts. Jake felt something inside break. The creature was so obsessed with its data it couldn't see the nightmare it proposed. It wanted to seize more children to understand why humans cared about the ones already taken. The meeting is finished, Jake snapped. Leave my ship. I had hoped for reasonable terms, Vexthala said. Your species shows potential, yet this emotional volatility is troubling. Off my ship before I throw you off, Jake repeated. Vexthala turned toward its shuttle silently. At the hatch it paused, glancing back at Jake. Captain Morrison, be advised. The collective never bargains with primitives. If you persist in obstructing our research, consequences will follow. A threat? Jake asked. A statement of fact, Vexthala answered. The collective preserves stability. Species disrupting it are removed. The alien vanished into its craft. The sleek vessel rose and slipped away, leaving silence behind. Jake stood there, mind churning with visions of that colossal station and its thousands of stolen captives. Captain? Alex murmured. What now? Jake faced his crew, finding the same hard, resolve blazing in their eyes. They'd learned humanity confronted an enemy abducting innocents for eons, blind to the lives it destroyed. Now we fight, Jake said. His message reached Earth 3 days after that encounter, when Earth Command saw the rescued children's recordings and heard their accounts. The reaction was instant and furious. Within hours, every news outlet showed images of Katie Walsh, her brother Ben, and the other 10 stolen children. President Sarah Johnson convened an emergency global assembly. Before every world leader, she played Jake's report. "My fellow humans," she declared afterward, "we have learned our children are hunted by beings viewing them as mere specimens. This is no attack on families alone. It is war on humanity itself." The response was unprecedented. Governments, corporations, militaries, all united under one banner. Mars mining firms ceased operations, converting facilities into weapons plants. Earth's orbital shipyards labored non-stop forging warships. Admiral Patricia Hayes assumed command of humanity's greatest fleet. A gray-haired veteran of 3 wars, unbeaten, she watched the research station footage and understood this battle would define her life. "How many ships?" she demanded. Colonel Frank Miller scanned his files. "All major corporations pledge vessels. Mars Defense sends its entire navy, even asteroid miners' arm craft volunteering for battle." "Numbers," Patricia pressed. 237. "Warships," Frank reported, "plus 400 armed civilian ships. 15,000 volunteers stand ready to board and clear those research stations." Patricia nodded. The totals were impressive, yet she knew they would confront alien weaponry thousands of years ahead of anything humanity possessed. Still, the aliens did not comprehend human resolve when children were endangered. Meanwhile, news of the abductions spread among other civilizations across the stars. The collective had been so absorbed in its studies, it never imagined the fury that would come when victims' families uncovered the truth. On the mining world, Kurthos, the Brentani learned their young were imprisoned in those same research stations. Massive beings resembling walking trees, the Brentani shared deep emotional bonds with offspring. Their rage, once awakened, burned even hotter than humanity's. The crystalline Althari discovered hundreds of missing children taken across centuries. These luminous beings spoke through resonant harmonics, and when the news swept through their crystal cities, the sound of wrath echoed across continents. One species after another uncovered the collective's crimes. The galaxy convulsed with outrage. Worlds long divided now found common cause in shared grief. Dr. Lisa Chen continued aiding the rescued human children aboard Endeavour. Many recovered slowly, though some wounds would last years. Katie Walsh still woke screaming from dreams of experiments, while her brother Ben refused sleep without a watchful presence nearby. "How are they?" Jake asked Lisa during one visit to medical. "Improving," Lisa replied. Katie speaks about her parents now. She wonders if they're still searching. Jake managed his first smile in days. "Tell her every human alive is searching. For her and the others still missing." Their faces became the movement's symbols. Broadcasts carried their images across human space, painted onto departing warships. Katie Walsh's likeness adorned the battleship New Texas beneath the words, "Never Again." Amy Foster worked tirelessly decoding alien files recovered from the facility. What she uncovered darkened everything further. "Captain," she called urgently, "I found something horrific." The display revealed a galactic map littered with red points, thousands. Each marked a collective research facility. Over 6,000, Amy reported. Some centuries old. Millions of captives inside. Jake stared in disbelief. Millions of young torn from worlds, imprisoned for study, a crime beyond imagining. "There's worse," Amy added. "Records mention failed experiments, species erased entirely." "Entire civilizations?" Jake demanded. 17, Amy confirmed. "Extinct under collective observation. Data meticulously detailing every death." Jake felt sick. Not only abducting children, these creatures had exterminated worlds for research notes. "Forward this to Admiral Hayes," Jake ordered. "She must see the full threat." Back on Earth, Hayes read the files with mounting dread. The collective endangered all life, not humanity alone. New objective, she told her aides. This isn't solely a rescue mission. We dismantle every research station we find. That's far. Larger in scale, Colonel Miller warned. We lack the ships. Then we find allies, Patricia snapped. Contact every species harmed by the collective. Invite them to our fleet. The answer came swiftly. Alien vessels converged on her chosen rally point. Brentani tree ships arrived like drifting forests. Althari crystal ships sang with rising fury. They moved through space. Dozens more species brought their strength to the growing armada. Jake Morrison stood on Endeavor's bridge watching the Allied fleet gather. Across the void, warships of countless designs drifted into formation. Crews, united by fury and purpose. Warriors who had never spoken before now coordinated their assault on the collective's stations. Look at that, Alex Rodriguez muttered, nodding toward the main screen. A month ago, aliens were rumors. Now we're leading a galactic crusade. Not leading, Jake corrected softly. Fighting beside them. This isn't about human dominance. It's about saving children. A colossal new contact appeared on scanners, dwarfing anything yet assembled. A warship from the Valdorian Empire, whose children were also stolen. Its captain hailed Endeavor directly. Captain Morrison, came the alien voice. I am Fleet Commander, Zenth, Imperial Navy. Our people have heard humanity's discovery regarding the collective's crimes. We pledge our fleets to this alliance. Welcome aboard, Jake answered. More ships arrived each hour as word of the atrocities spread. The collective had birthed enemies across half the galaxy without realizing it. Now those enemies massed together, determined to reclaim what was taken. Admiral Hayes issued final orders across the armada. Target, Research Station Omega, the vast command hub Vexathala revealed. Intelligence confirmed it held the largest population of captives and directed the entire program. All ships, Patricia broadcast, we strike fast and hard. Primary objective, rescue every living subject. Secondary, seize or destroy all research archives. Surrendered vessels will be spared. Resistance will be eliminated. On Endeavor's bridge, Jake studied his crew. Lisa Chen oversaw the medical wards prepared for freed captives. Amy Foster coordinated communications among Allied fleets. Alex Rodriguez armed weapons for the assault. Down in medical, Katie Walsh folded bandages beside Dr. Chen, helping prepare for casualties. The child once imprisoned now aided the mission to save others from her fate. All ships report ready, Amy confirmed. Jake signaled Admiral Hayes on the main display. We're ready, he said. Patricia studied the massive fleet arrayed before her. Hundreds of warships from dozens of civilizations, united by one shared goal, bringing their children home. The collective's cruelty had forged this alliance. Now they would pay for it. All ships, she ordered, jump to hyperspace. Let's bring them back. Research Station Omega drifted in the starless void like a steel planet. The monstrous facility dwarfed anything the Allied fleet had encountered, bristling with docking bays, laboratories, and command spires. Somewhere inside that cold shell lay 50,000 stolen children. The Allied fleet emerged from hyperspace in flawless formation. Terran warships flew beside Brentoni living vessels, crystalline Alari cruisers gleaming like frozen sunlight. The Valdorian Empire had committed its largest dreadnought, so colossal it blotted out smaller craft as it moved into position. Over 600 ships representing 43 species closed around the station like a tightening noose. Inside Omega's command center, High Researcher Vexathala stared at the sight, its features unreadable. It had never witnessed such unity among the galaxy's fractured races and could not comprehend why they fought over mere research subjects. Transmit a message, Vexathala commanded sharply. Inform them this interference violates collective protocols. Admiral Hayes appeared on the station's main display, voice ringing with iron command. This is Admiral Patricia Hayes, Terran Defense Force. You are surrounded by an alliance of 43 species whose children you abducted. Release every captive and surrender immediately. Vexathala moved closer, unruffled. Admiral Hayes, you failed to grasp the magnitude of our work. These subjects serve the progress of every civilization. They are unharmed and contribute to knowledge transcending worlds. They are children, Hayes snapped, voice colder than deep space. Stolen from their families. You have committed crimes against us all. This emotional fixation is intriguing, Vexathala mused. Your species' attachment to offspring seems to override logic. Perhaps our research should expand to include adults. Silence choked the channel. When Hayes spoke, her words carried the fury of millions. You just signed your death warrant, she said. All ships, attack formation, show them what vengeance looks like. When you threaten our children. The battle erupted in a storm of weapons. Allied fleet guns blazed. Human missiles streaked toward the station beside Brentani plasma bursts and Althari crystal beams. The research station's defenses activated instantly, but they were built to repel single attackers, not a united armada. Several collective warships, docked at the station when the fleet arrived, launched to defend it. They were advanced ships, sleek and deadly, but only 12 faced 600 attackers. Jake Morrison led boarding craft toward the docking bays. The Endeavor carried breaching charges, cutting torches, everything needed to storm the station. Behind him flew ships from a dozen allied species, each carrying rescue teams trained to locate and evacuate captives. Docking Bay 7 secure. Alex Rodriguez reported from Tactical. Minimal resistance detected. The Endeavor touched down with a thunderous clang. Jake's team poured out, combat armor gleaming, scanners sweeping corridors. They had studied the schematics carefully, knew exactly where the captives were held. Inside, panicked collective personnel ran in all directions. Most were scientists, not soldiers. They fled at the sight of armed boarding parties. A few resisted. Quickly overwhelmed, Jake's team reached the first research sector. Rows of containment pods identical to those from the first facility. Each cell held a child, some almost human, others utterly alien. All stolen. Open them, Jake ordered. Get medical teams here now. Dr. Lisa Chen's medics rushed in, waking captives carefully. Many had been unconscious for years. They required delicate treatment to avoid shock or further trauma. The first rescued was a small flower-like being taken from a garden world a year ago. It cried in a strange tongue, but its grief needed no translation. Across the station, rescue teams reported success. Brentani recovered their sapling offspring. Althari freed crystal children long separated from their harmonic kin. Every species helped others as well as their own. In the command center, Vexathala watched, bewildered. Why risk war over research? Specimens? Send a message, it snapped. Offer negotiations. The work can continue. Fleet Commander Zenth of the Valdorian Empire appeared on screen, massive arms crossed. No negotiations, Zenth rumbled. Release them, or we dismantle your station piece by piece. This is irrational, Vexathala protested. Their sacrifice serves the greater good. Sacrifice? Zenth roared. You call children sacrifices? Learn what sacrifice means. The Valdorian dreadnought fired. Weapons meant for planetary sieges tore into Omega's power core. Systems failed. Lights flickered. Alarms screamed. Rescue teams pushed deeper, reaching the oldest captives, some imprisoned decades, some entire lives spent in cages. Jake found Earth children here, as Vexathala had hinted. Ages varied, from toddlers to adults raised in captivity. One young woman, Carol Barnes, had been taken from Luna Colony 15 years ago. Are you real? She whispered as Jake opened her cell. Or another test? We're real, Jake said. We're here to take you home. Tears streaked Carol's face. I remember Earth, she murmured. I remember my mother's voice. Similar scenes unfolded everywhere. Medical crews treated malnourished children, comforted those waking. After years of stasis, Outside, the battle neared its end. Collective warships lay destroyed or disabled. Omega's defenses collapsed. More shocking, the collective itself fractured. The Threx swarm, a major power, broadcast galaxy-wide. We knew nothing of this. We withdraw at once. Any species harming children is no ally of ours. Others followed. Malari gas beings cut ties. Kronar Silicon warriors declared war on Zephyrians. Within hours, the collective collapsed as member species learned the truth. Vexathala, alone in the command center, watched systems fail around it, unable to comprehend the Alliance's rage. Jake found the alien in the data core, frantically erasing files. "Captain Morrison," Vexathala said, "explain. Why value individuals over progress?" Jake stared at the creature responsible for such cruelty. "Because every child matters. Every single one." "This is illogical," Vexathala insisted. "The many outweigh the few." "You're wrong," Jake replied. "The few make the many worth protecting." Security arrested Vexathala and its staff. The data was preserved for trial, but the experiments ended forever. Admiral Hayes directed the enormous evacuation effort herself.